Welcome to Down and Out but Statistically Average podcast. We're two friends here. We're turning our coping mechanisms into content one episode at a time. I'm Connor. I'm a lifelong Notre Dame football fan, as you can see. My friend and my co-host here, Nate, he's a Texas Rangers loyalist, and he's in the throes of the baseball season, and we're going to talk about that a lot today. Thank you guys for joining in again and joining us on the Down and Out and Statistically Average podcast. We appreciate you guys coming in to view the show. So, we're going to start off the show with my friend here, and I'm going to start the podcast. I am going to start about Notre Dame, and we're going to talk a little bit about some small updates with spring practice. We don't have a whole lot going on. As Nate knows, there's no games, right? There's no in-season, there's nothing really major going on. We got the team just practicing and building up to the spring game that's going to happen here in April. So, with that, Nate, before I get into it, what's up, brother? Welcome into another one. Oh, I don't know who. It just kind of dropped. It was like Santa kind of came in and look at.
So first, let's start with some Notre Dame. Do you guys have anything? Have you guys done any trades? Anything cool? Or are you guys just lame like you usually are?
We're always lame. Actually, people call us Notre Lame for a reason, and it's because we're the lamest team. And no, um, well, to answer your question, there, my fine sir, college football went through this big transformation called the transfer portal in the last couple of years. It's basically the free agency, and free agency for the college side, the transfer portal ends before the spring practice starts. So it's like late January, I think early February is like the last the teams are really acquiring players because there's like certain parameters when you can actually get it. They have to come in before the semester starts of the college, yada yada yada. So we got a really good transfer portal class actually. I talked a little bit about the two receivers we got from Ohio State. That's one of the updates I got for you in spring. The one receiver, we knew this coming in. He's going to be our boundary receiver. He's actually out. He's got an ankle injury. They did a quick surgery on it. It's like an 8 to 10 week recovery kind of thing. He'll be back for late summer, maybe fall workouts, and so we'll tackle that then. But Mylan Graham, the other transfer receiver from Ohio State, he's been making some waves, and I'll actually send you this video. There was a clip put out. I call it a propaganda clip from Notre Dame because like you don't actually learn anything, but you want to get your fan base juiced up, and kind of like get hyped. Yeah. So they put out a video of CJ Carr just chucking like a 40-yard bomb down the right sideline and Mylan Graham just catching in the bucket. Beautiful pass, beautiful catch. And they're celebrating afterwards. So that was a nice little thank you Notre Dame for media for putting that out.
Interest in the off season, yeah, you got to do what you can to keep your fan base remembering.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
we're holding out, and it was a cool clip, and we appreciated that as Notre Dame nuts. I'm speaking for all of us, but we definitely appreciated it. And so that's really the main news in terms of like, okay, what have we seen from the free agency transfer portal kind of thing? Like Mylan Graham is getting a lot of buzz. He's really kind of separating himself, from what I understand, from a lot of the other receivers. So I think he really is a great addition. So we're really, really excited as a fan base to see what this guy can do. Former 5-star, as I mentioned in the past, but yeah, it's going to be just I think, a solid year for him. Well, we know, I'm just going to kind of circle this back and tail it into where we're at in this spring right now. We're about halfway through spring practices. We've got the spring game that we're building up to, sort of the climax of the spring season. And that's at the end of April. Yeah, end of April, yep. So I think it's like the 22nd or 23rd, something like that. And that's where we get to see the intervarsity scrimmage between the best on best, so you get to see the whole team just play each other. There's fans in the stadium. It's kind of like your spring games, but it's like imagine if there's only one so it's really like a good thing for the off season for the really into it fans like myself. I'm excited to see CJ Carr. I'm excited to see how he is distributing the ball to these receivers. They're getting a lot of hype. I mentioned Mylan Graham, but there's also Jaden Greathouse. He's a little injured right now, but he was a stud back in 2024 in the playoff run that we had. We're excited to see. There's a couple freshmen that are notable that are making some waves. Bubba Frazier, he's come up as a guy that's supposed to be really fast. And I've mentioned before, but this team has more speed than ever, than not, at least in my lifetime as a Notre Dame fan. So I'm excited to just see that speed on camera and just see some like telltales of what we can expect this season, because you're not going to actually know. There's only little nuggets that you gain from a game like that. Like, oh, this guy was that fast. Like, you're not going to see the whole team cohesion, or is our defense or offense going to be good, but you can see individual players and like you actually watch them on a game speed. So that's an exciting part for us. Outside of that, my man, I mean, I could talk a little bit about we have a new defensive line coach. We acquired him back in January. I haven't mentioned him on the podcast, so I'll talk about
You got
a little bit about him now.
coach. You lost the first 2 games of the season, so that
Yeah.
doesn't bode well. What's your thoughts on?
So my thoughts are this: he is a great hire, one of the better hires of Marcus Freeman's tenure. Charlie Partridge, he's known like around the whole game of football, not just college, but also NFL. So he's worked at a couple different colleges. He worked at the University of Pittsburgh. I think he was at Rutgers. And now, just before Notre Dame, he was actually in the NFL as a defensive line coach. And Marcus Freeman hired him to come from the NFL to Notre Dame. So it's a big move for the Irish to get him. He is one of those guys whose reputation is he is one of the top, I would say, top 1 to 3 defensive line coaches in the game. Like, whether that's NFL or college, he's one of the best. That's like kind of what he specializes in. And a lot of the times you don't really see that as much with coaches in college football. And just football in general, a lot of the times coaches, they want to climb the ladder, right? So you start as a receivers coach, then you move up to offensive coordinator, then you move up to head coach. Like, there's sort of that progression of moving up to, bigger steps in your career. Charlie Partridge specifically has coached D-line. I mean, there's a couple things like earlier in his history, but like D-line has been his thing. That's what he's good at. And so that's a major strength. It's actually one of the critiques I've had of that defense that you mentioned, was that the defensive line sometimes lacked not having a different pass rush arsenal. So like when you're trying to get after the quarterback, and yeah, they were kind of like one-trick ponies or two-trick ponies. Charlie Partridge is not, from what we hear and just kind of some of the intel, he's not about that. He's like, you do this, and a guy beats you, you need to have a counter move to be able to beat him, and a counter to the counter. So he's a very like full embodying kind of coach. And so that's exciting, because historically Notre Dame's defensive line hasn't been like overwhelming to the point of like national championship level. And I think this coaching hire turns the talent that's there, can flip that up, obviously. And that's where a lot of our optimism comes from this defense, is because he's a big hire. He's one of the reasons, absolutely. Other reasons is our defensive backs stacked. We have the best cornerback in the country, Leonard Moore. He'll be a top 10 pick, probably top 5 pick in the upcoming draft. It's just absolutely loaded at linebacker. So yeah, like I said, so Charlie Partridge, that was a big hire, and we're really hopefully looking to see the fruits of that labor that Marcus Freeman put in and putting that hire in. Nothing really new outside of that. I mean, we got a couple recruiting news, so like getting high school players into the program for the 2027 class. So they won't be on the team this year, but they'll be on the team next year. We landed a 4-star running back, Isaiah Rogers. He's a top 10 running back in the country. So this is just for us becoming a really cool trend. We were never known for like top running backs until really, I would say, like the 2020, maybe like 2017, 2018 is like when you started seeing a progression of like, oh, they're getting better and better and better with running back position. And obviously this last year we had Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price, both in my mind are going to be first rounders. Jeremiah is definitely going to be in the top 5 now, they're saying. Mm-hmm. Jadarian, maybe, if he's not in the first round, he's going to be the top of the second round, right? So the recruits are seeing that. They're seeing that you can have multiple guys at that position and still go to the league at a high level and still be developed. So the signals going out from our program to the recruits in the running back room is stud, and this kid is another stud. So we're excited to have him on. Again, Isaiah Rogers, 4-star running back out of Massachusetts. So that's really exciting. And so now that 2027 class is ranked top 5. I remember I mentioned to you last time that the class that we just brought in, the freshmen that are on campus now, that was the number 1 ranked class in the country. So again, you're stacking back-to-back top 5 classes, and that is something that has not happened since, rest in peace, Lou Holtz was at Notre Dame. And that's back in, like the late 80s, early 90s, where you just were stacking top 5 classes. So
Stack some
it's
good
exciting.
run. If you can stack some really good, strong running backs with, some quality top tier talent receivers, with CJ Carr,
Oh, yeah.
you'd certainly be a force to be reckoned with. So
Yeah, I think so, sir.
optimistic is what I'm thinking. Yeah.
That's right. So that's all I have for Notre Dame land and kind of our news. Again, just waiting for that spring game, and then we got some recruiting battles still going on, recovering from some injuries for some major players, but that's really it on our side. What about you, Ranger Nation? Tell me, what's the updates? How's your season going, man?
Oh, dangerous questions to be asking. Our season is going aggressively fine. We started our season a couple of weeks ago. Right now, today is Saturday, April 4th. This is Saturday morning. We're playing the Reds again, second game against them in the series against them. We're currently 4-3, so we're over 500. We've won more games than we've lost, but we are definitely winning the wrong way. We just played our home, like our first game at home. It was yesterday, and it was against the Reds. It was a series opener against the Cincinnati Reds. And we lost 5-3 against them. And honestly, the game yesterday kind of highlighted every single flaw I was fearing we'd have back when I was tracking with things in February and through March through spring training. So I'm really glad about one key upside is there's a weird scoring mirage. We're averaging about 5 runs per game, which is good. That's top 10 in the MLB, it's been a long time since we've been top 10 of anything in any sort of offensive stat. So hey, that's awesome. The problem is it's a house of cards. We aren't really building innings. We're waiting for lightning to strike, and I'll get into that in a little bit. The stat that really scares me. Yesterday we struck out 10 times, and we didn't walk at all. We had 0 walks.
Interesting.
We have now struck out 10 or more times. We have double-digit strikeouts in 5 of our first 7 games. 5 of our first 7 games, we've had more than 10 strikeouts, which is insane. And our walk rate is also super, super low. So here's where we stand, just State of the Union. We're currently the most impatient, undisciplined offense in professional baseball. We are swinging at everything that moves. We are 4-3 because our talent is outrunning our process. But the process is going to catch up to us by, at the latest, May. We're just swinging for the fences constantly. Oh, look, it's a shiny thing. Let me just try to hit it. Whoa! Oh no, I didn't actually hit it. Or whoa! Oh wow, man, that was a moonshot. That's literally what we're doing. So that's a key thing. Hey, listen, that was me railing against the offense. I also want to cap off and just say here, guys, I love the Texas Rangers. It's why I'm bagging on them so hard. It's because, oh, dude, you could be so much better if you just listen to my brilliant armchair advice. Okay, gosh. So Connor, how you open all of our episodes with, Nate is, he's super used to bullpen meltdowns and all of that. Well, there's a reason why I had you build that into the intro, and Chris Martin is the newest example of exactly why. So Chris Martin, he's like 39 years old. He's an old dude. He's nearing retirement. If not, some would argue he should already be. He's supposed to be our veteran closer in a sense. He's supposed to go into the 9th inning and get those last 3 outs, even especially in close game situations. We went into the 9th inning yesterday, tied 3-3 with the Reds. He immediately came in, served up a double, and then the next batter hit a 2-run home run. Just the first 2 batters he faced, double and then 2-run home run, and that's how we lost. So that's not the first time he's done that. It's one thing to have a bad day as a closer, right? No, that's totally fine. But he's made 4 appearances already thus far. He's come into the game 4 times of the last 7 games. He has a 225 whip, which is he has allowed 4 earned runs in 2.2 innings. That is an ERA.
Not good, right? That's not good, right?
ERA of 13.5. Our pitching staff total last year was the best in terms of ERA. It was below 3. His ERA is over 13, and he's supposed to be our high leverage closer guy. Instead, he's like a human white flag, okay? His location, his command is now, oh, look, let me squint, and let me see if I can hit the dead center of the strike zone. Oh, no, it's another home run. Oh, God. So he's basically running a home run derby, and he's supposed to be our star closer. And then there's the other guy that we have, Robert Garcia. He's just the guy that we currently don't trust, right? And Robert Garcia hasn't allowed a run yet in any of his appearances. He's got a 113 whip, but he has a 6.8 walks per 9 rate, which is like 4 times higher than what the league average is. He just gives out freebies constantly. Just, hey, oh yeah, let me come into the 9th inning and basically walk the bases loaded. And then wait for somebody else like Chris Martin to come in and throw one right down the center, and he hits it out, and we wonder why we lost. This is the kind of, Robert Garcia treats the strike zone like a suggestion. And Chris Martin has a hard time seeing where his ball is going at all. I'd prefer both of them either have terrible walk rates or be constant. Just give me some consistency somewhere. My advice and my personal take is, if you've got a guy that treats the strike zone like a suggestion and another guy that can't seem to see the strike zone because he keeps hitting it by accident, then you don't have a pitching staff. You have a Little League game in the 9th inning. So anyway, that's our relievers. Let's move on to the lineup, okay? So we've got some adults in the lineup, and we've got some, I'm going to call them outlaws for the lineup, okay? So we've got Brandon Nimmo, who we traded from the Mets.
The Mets.
We sent Simeon to the Mets, and that was the right call, absolutely. And getting Nimmo, we were kind of dicey about him. Nimmo finished the year last year like a 269 batting average, which is decent. You know, it's fine.
It's fine.
Thus far, he's the professional. He's our number one. He's our leadoff man in our lineup. He's the number one guy. He's hitting 379, and he has almost a .500 on base percentage. He's getting on base like every other at bat.
That's incredible.
One way or another, he's getting a hit more than a third of the time. So it's like, and he's also by far, he's definitely by far our most disciplined hitter as well. He's the only reason why our walk rate isn't 0. So let me give you a little bit of perspective too. So walk rate, it can vary, and it's still early in the season, right? But you know how I was talking last episode about our walk rate being the best in the MLB over the course of spring training? I was hey, if we keep that up, we will win. We will actually be on top. Guess who's second to last in walk rate right now?
Oh, the Texas Rangers.
The Texas freaking Rangers. And we are second only to the Colorado Rockies.
Oh.
Wait,
hold on.
The White Sox are beating us in walk rate right now. I literally can't. And do you know why we're not dead last? His name is Brandon Nimmo, and he's the only logical choice we've made in hitting in the last 3 years of trades. So great job, Nimmo, but we need more. You can't carry the entire team.
Dude, what? Okay, there's so much going on here. Like, literally, from the last time we talked, I was, like, encouraged that the Rangers were maybe put together a strategy where it was like the sum of the parts is greater than the whole. They're going to just get on base. They're just going to cycle through and kind of not have big wiffle, trying to hit everything like you're a wiffle ball, trying to whack it. Like, that's what...
anything.
Exactly. So what changed? Like, why are they chasing? This is the same thing that happened last year, just at least you guys had better hitters last year, from what I understand.
No. We've got better hitters this year. Again, we're still over 500.
Okay.
We are hitting a lot better. We've got a very decent, like, our offense has definitely been improved. Just not in the areas that I thought it had improved based on performance in spring training. I just saw a complete, like, 180 in terms of plate discipline, which is exactly what I'm saying we need more of.
It's the
Play
same
some more
story as
small
last
ball.
year. The same story.
Leave the hitting to the guys that actually can hit. We've got Corey Seager. We've got we've got Wyatt Langford, but we've got Andrew McCutcheon. Yeah, I know he's no spring chicken anymore, but he's doing actually pretty fantastic. Andrew McCutcheon, he's hitting 375 with an 1100 OPS. He has a higher slugging percentage than almost everyone except our actual power hitter, Jake Berger. So McCutcheon, he's supposed to be a part-time platoon player, but right now, in terms of pure hitting, he's our best guy.
That's
So
crazy.
we have hitters, but then there's people like Josh Young and Danny Jansen. Danny Jansen, he's had 12 at-bats. He struck out in 5 of them. He's a 40% strikeout, and we traded for him and got rid of Jonah Heim because Danny Jansen had better plate discipline, better on-base percentage, could actually hit. But no, he can't. He's playing the same game that Josh Young and all these other idiots. Evan Carter is starting to get better, but there's some good stuff. We've got Nimmo, we've got McCutcheon, Corey Seager's consistent, Jake Berger, I'd like to see his turnaround, but we keep giving up close games because we have the world's worst quote-unquote closers. And on the games where it's not close, it's because we keep going, oh, look, I see a white thing. Oh no, where'd it go? Oh man, darn it. Sorry, Skip. We'll get him next time. This is the kind of ball that we're playing.
Are you telling me that Ranger Nation is feeling a little down and out? And honestly, the statistical average is you're a little below statistically average.
I really don't like making opposing pitchers look like Cy Young candidates based on how freaking juvenile our entire lineup is. But all that goes to say is I'm going to cap this off with something positive. Again, we are 4-3. If we actually manage to pull out this game later today, our second game against the Reds, then I might change my tune a little bit more, but we need to walk more. We need to swing less and walk more and rely more on our lineup order to dictate when and if we actually try to even swing at the ball. We need to be playing more small ball, or else we're going to find ourselves at rock bottom, battling the Rockies for last place in the league by May. That's it.
Well, Ranger Nation, I feel sorry, man. It's such a change. That's the worst when your off season is like so promising and then it just dovetails down.
But some really awesome things that I also want to mention. Sorry, I have lots to talk about. I've been waiting for this moment, for this day, for the season to come around.
For all my life.
Sit there, drink your coffee.
Oh no. Oh no. By the way, guys, never ever roast Jake Berger when you're in the presence of Nate Wazelius. Never.
Yeah,
don't do it.
Connor and several other friends came last Saturday over to my place to not actually to watch the game with me, but they ended up
not at all.
So, and they almost jinxed us. That was the game when we actually had to win in extras. So it was because of yet another bullpen meltdown in the 8th and 9th innings.
Yes.
I attributed that to the jinx of my friends all making fun of, oh, you guys got this in the bag. And I was like, shut up, stop talking. You're making it worse. And then they did. And then they shut up in the 10th inning, and then we won in the 10th inning. So look at that, guys. It's proven.
But anyway, listen, we go to his house and we wreck his sports world, but then we do the podcast and we cry about it. So it all works out.
It all comes full circle. We're very emotional and very changeable, which is why we started a podcast, because we needed a platform with which to rant. And we were like, hey, maybe other people would like to hear us just scream about how much we hate the teams that we love for 40 minutes straight. So, or
just be delusional. See, I feel like that's more my realm, is the delusionality of the sport, not seeing the truth, just everything's gonna be great,
Whereas I only see the truth, and I just constantly rail against the team that I love to death. I can't remember the last time I had a generally positive vibes overall when I recorded a podcast episode about the Texas Rangers. It's usually been overwhelmingly negative.
Yeah.
Because I feel so much more passionately about the negative stuff. Chris Young, if you ever need an extra sports broadcaster or something like that, somebody to fill in for, Dave Raymond or Mike Bassick, somebody to banter, but really just scream at people all the time on the radio or on TV, I'm absolutely your guy. So I'm very, very good at that. So a couple of final things that I did want to make sure to touch on.
Go for it.
There's now, as Connor, you came and you saw a game, there's now a robotic ABS challenge system, which is fantastic.
What do you mean?
So each team gets 2 challenges in terms of balls and strikes being called. So the home
Oh,
plate
okay.
umpire, he calls a ball, it calls a strike. You now get to challenge that if you think that it's the wrong call.
Ah,
Your whole team has 2 challenges per game.
it's just
Now,
like football.
if you initiate a challenge though, and your challenge is correct, then you get to retain that challenge. No challenges are expended. So you get to use tons that you can have 100 challenges. And if you keep winning your challenges, you get to have more. But if your
Interesting.
challenges are wrong and you deplete them too early, you might still have a bad strike call at the end of the 9th inning that, hey, you got no more challenges. So that's the game. Guess what?
Sure.
That's all it is.
So you have to be strategic and pick and choose. Yeah.
Yes, I am really, really liking this challenge system. It makes me get a lot less angry at the umpires. I genuinely think, in a real sense, it will make umpires better overall because these ABS challenge systems, it'll do like this animation graphic on the big screen at the stadium in front of all of the fans and all the players in real time, like within seconds of the challenge being made. And the challenge sign is this. So I'll just tap it.
That's not just you patting your own head and like doing the whole, rubbing your stomach and patting. No.
It's not a luck based thing. No. So, and by and large, I've seen some really, really good things. Actually, it's actually been more encouraging for the umpires that we've had thus far. By and large, these challenges have been getting lost. Losing challenges because they're actually making the right call. And hey,
Yeah.
if challenges are being expended, then that means that umpires are doing a good job. And I think that's the primary function. So I really, really like that. The other part of it is, and the really big thing, the really positive thing is, oh, hey, guess what? Shocker. Our starting pitching is still fantastic. Mackenzie Gore pitched yesterday. It was his second appearance. He pitched for 6 innings. He struck out 9. And he only allowed 3 runs, 3 ERA. That's incredible. And I'm really, really glad that we snapped him up. And he's only like, I think, early 30s, so we can get a lot of usage out of him. Nate Uvalde, my Evo, he's had his first 2 starts have been a little bit rougher, but Jacob deGrom and even Jacob Latz has done, all of them have done a pretty fantastic job. I am kind of scared about today's game. We've got Kumar Rocker. He's supposed to be our wonder boy, but he's very young. Jack Leiter even has done a great job. But Kumar Rocker, if he actually has a strong start today, I might just change my tune. So all that goes to say is our hitting, we need to stop going, hey, swing at the shiny object. Our relief pitching needs to just all be fired. I'd rather hire some little leaguers because they'll probably be more consistent. But hey, our starting pitching is fantastic and our defense is superb. So that's all I got to say about my pitching.
All right. Well, Ranger Nation, you've heard the hot take there. You've heard the hot take. All right, brother. Well, we'll see if the Rangers can turn the season around and not be below statistical average. They can just get to statistical average, and we'll be in a better place.
Thank you.
We'll be in a better place. Let's transition. I know that obviously this is a big weekend outside of the sports weekend. Actually, this is the biggest weekend in human history, and we're celebrating it. Yesterday, obviously, for posterity's sake, yesterday was Good Friday, and I was at a church service at my church, and it was just, it was like 15 people there. I go to a small church. It's in Lantana, Florida, and it's an amazing church, beautiful people, and the sermon was it was so good. It was about finding peace, and are you putting your trust and fidelity in things that aren't worth your time, right? Like, if you're putting your trust in these sports that are always immovable, like, are you relying on those things in your downtime? Are you relying on watching that TV session or that Netflix, throwing that on, that movie that you love so much? Is that the supplier of your peace in your life? And I just want to throw it to you, man, like, because I thought it was such a good sermon. But, like, what do you think about that, man? Just obviously with this weekend and, such a, as we know that this podcast, this is our focus in terms of our teams, right? This is one of our outlets, right? When we get into the real world, we know what's going on. We know the things that are going on in this world. And we know how there can be such an instability and such a lack of peace, especially now that the foundations to a lot of those things that we've trusted in are getting shaky. So I want to get your thoughts on that, just like a general thought on that. What do you think about just where we're finding peace in this world and just in the midst of the chaos?
Midst of chaos, and it's a conversation that you and I had even just a couple of weeks ago, and just related to, we love our sports teams and we can get very, very immersed in it, and sometimes that's a good thing. Hey, you always need to have a diversity of life, and you need to be able to engage with others and have certain interests, and I do not think sports is a waste of time, but you're absolutely
Me
right.
too.
And for me, definitely, I don't know about you, but for me, it can and has been in the past an idol, sometimes to a distraction from something bigger that's going on either in the wider world or something bigger in terms of, deeper, more serious in someone's personal life. So the importance of maintaining consistency. And honestly, that's kind of where my mind still tends to go when equating trying to, you can't really, but having some sort of equivalency between, hey, why and how I love sports, or I love my Texas Rangers, and why and how we should love the having fellowship with others is I do. The primary reason why I love to do this podcast is I do like actually very positive. Yes, I am absolutely an introvert, but finding peace is not about being more at home or being at home more, being more isolated. Finding peace is definitely not just constantly being out and about. And finding peace is not, I mean, there's a healthy balance in a whole lot of it, but you need to be doing something to actually get yourself out there too on a regular basis. So find an interest, find a passion, and then use that as an opportunity to expand your connection, show out into all the world is what we're called to do according to this great mission as well. And in an interesting sense, I do want to have some stuff that actually I can use as a conversation starter because it's a lot harder to open conversations with, hey, what's the deepest thing going through your mind right now? What's the worst thing going on in your life? Or this might be a hot take, or maybe not. Don't try to be like, hey, are you a Christian as your opening line? But hey, you're wearing a Texas Rangers, but you're in Florida, dude. We need to go out, and you need to become my best friend right now. Okay,
Yep.
let's actually start that dialogue a little bit more. I can tell you, in terms of the people that I have been able to actually invite out to church, it's been through my interests and/or through my job. Just exposure, and this is one way to do it. So, in terms of finding inner peace, I can't really comment on that because I can't say that I've actually found it myself. More or less, hey, I'm trying to figure this out as best I can. But I can say, without a doubt, that a key part of having some element of peace is trusting number one in the Lord, but also developing fellowship with quality people around you. They don't necessarily all have to be straight up, strong believers, but you need to have a good support system that's actually redirecting you towards sort of where you need to be going in life, in love and faith and in fear.
I love it, and I think one of the things that what you said really stuck out to me in how like you don't have to lead with you don't have to lead with a certain topic or whatever when you're trying to connect people. Like you don't have to lead with the gospel if you're Christian. If you're not a Christian watching this, obviously you can tell me and Nate here we're believers, and one of the things that we're passionate about is talking to people about the Lord. And I agree wholeheartedly. Like if you care about somebody, like you'll connect with them on something that you know that they like. Like if you know that they're interested in a certain thing, or I have a friend loves trucks and cars. So one of the first things I'm gonna ask him, hey dude, how's your project going with your truck? How's your project going with your car? Oh yeah, yeah, like kind of. It talks about in Peter, I think it's chapter 2. Yeah, chapter 2, where it talks about like counting others as more important as yourself. Not that you're not important, but when you're in that relational dynamic, you're there to serve them, whether that's through conversation or you're there to serve them through intentional actions. And I think like that speaks louder than anything because we've all, I'm not to the listeners specifically, like whether you guys have been hurt by the church or, have bad experiences with Christians, been judged by Christians, maybe like, who knows, right? I've been there. I've actually been in church as a Christian and felt judged by other Christians. And so I would just encourage like,
that I've judged others too. But just to your point, before I forget,
yeah,
it calls me back to the verse that says, "Hey, the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom." And came, did not to receive, and that's all the more poignant, especially to go through Good Friday through Easter. I mean, that's where we're at now. That's perfectly encapsulated. So I appreciate that verse far more. Hey, it's not about us.
it's not. Yeah. And so it's encouraging to hear that. And, you know, it, such a big weekend, and it's one that I always dismiss. I naturally don't like, naturally I just want to do my thing. It's my weekend, that's the way I think of it. But this is such a big weekend of like, there was something big that happened in human history, and it was changed the world, and it is something just to be absolutely treasured, like to something in your heart. And if you don't, even if you're not a believer and you don't know Christ, or have never really heard the gospel, that's okay. And we encourage you to go visit a local church and go or connect with somebody that hey, this guy or this girl is a solid believer. They actually walk the walk, and they talk it, but they walk it too. Like, actually talk to them about it. Not that we're perfect people and that we're the shining examples of that. Trust me, we're not. Like, you know, you get the more sports side of us, right? But there's other sides, you know what I'm saying? And so, um, I just want to encourage everybody as I come away from that service, and obviously you guys can tell I'm a little passionate after that service, but I think it's really important just to, this weekend specifically, where we hear about the death and the resurrection 3 days later of Jesus Christ, and he's died for your sins, and there is no watering that down, and it is offensive, but it is true. As my friend says, he likes to see the truth in the baseball. Well, that's the bigger truth in terms of the human existence, is that he is true, and don't take it at my word or Nate's word. Take it at his word. Go, just pick up a Bible.
Taste and see the Lord is good, as he really is, and he's a lot more consistent than either Notre Dame.
Yeah, 100%.
And he's a lot better, and he lasts a lot longer, and you kind of get a lot more out of it. I.e., perfect life and a sanctified one, and then eternal life thereafter. But hey, you got to find that out for yourself. Hey,
I agree.
Reach out to either me or Connor. I've discussed more of that, of elements of it. I'd love to have some more of the deeper conversations. Because we can get really passionate about stuff, but we're actually some of the most passionate and most consistent in terms of the meetups. Talking about the word and talking about spirituality, we actually meet up at least once a week to go over stuff, do discipleship together, and delve in and work with the iron sharpening iron. So there's certainly value in fellowship and actually engaging with fellow believers, but also engaging in the deeper, long-term relationship, even just with other brothers, sisters. That's
100%. And if you guys want to, comment, comment below. If it affects you in any sort of way, or you have questions, comment below. We'll put we have our podcasting email. We'll put that in the description below, and you can, go ahead and reach out there if that's an avenue. But Nate, if you don't have anything further, man, that's all I got in terms of, what's just been on my heart lately, and obviously besides that, what's been on my Notre Dame mind lately. So, anything else? Anything to close out for the Rangers fans?
I think I'm all my passion has now been muted, and now we've mellowed out with our discussion of spirituality. I think this is good equilibrium to go into Easter weekend out.
Sounds great, man. Well, listen, guys, thank you once again for joining Down and Out, but Statistically Average podcast. Again, we're two friends, and we're turning our coping mechanisms into content, and we're doing this one episode at a time. Thank you for joining episode 8. I'm Connor, lifelong Notre Dame football fan. From my friend Nate here, Texas Ranger loyalist, we thank you for joining again to the Down and Out, but Statistically Average podcast. Have a great weekend, everybody.